The initial stimulus was definitely the music. At that time, I was listening to a lot of different tracks and listening to various different composers. And the first one that I listened to was the Tilenda track, the last track. That definitely was the first bit that was made. I played with that piece for a couple of years, and I wanted to extend it and give it much more of a beginning. So I'd use that Tilenda piece as the ending, but I was trying to figure out how would I create something that is much, much longer and something that could take the audience on a journey. So for me, the stimulus for this piece is definitely the music. At the same time, I wanted it to be expressive, so hence the name Emancipation of Expressionism. My stimulus was also the freedom of expressing yourself, the freedom of having a voice through your movement. When you're a baby, the first thing you do is start to cry. And it's not because you're upset or you're unhappy, you're actually expressing yourself. It's the first time you've come into the world. So for me, looking at the piece, I wanted to show expressionism at different moments, whether it be at the beginning, the middle, or the end of life. There are 4 different sections in the piece. Section 1, I would say, is the birth, or maybe Genesis. It is the start. It is that moment where the impulse of a feeling or a movement starts to grow and create. So at the very beginning, when you see the guys in the spotlights, they are all moving like an electrical current is hitting them. And that to me is like them back in the womb of expressionism. The next section, section 2, for me is about growth and about struggle. It's about, in that piece where you see the people walking past and one guy is expressive into the light. To me, that was about everyday life. We tend to want to express ourselves and people just walk by. And we're just living our life. But sometimes there is a bit of a struggle and people may hold you back or stop you from what it is. So there's a level of aggression that comes out within your passion. And that piece was about, how passion can grow and become very, very, very strong to a point where it does look aggressive. But all it is you're just really, really passionate about what you do. Section 3 is about flow. It's about relationships. It's about connection. The duet at the beginning is about this energy and this feel from one person to another. And that's what happens sometimes in a relationship. You express yourselves. You may have an argument, but you're expressing yourself. You may have a memory or a moment, but you're expressing yourself. And then it's also about how the relationships can easily manipulate each other, as well as gel, merge, play. So that first section. The last section, which is Tilenda, is about empowerment. It's about superpowers, superhuman powers. It's about letting yourself go to the fullest. That is where the true feeling of the emancipation of expressionism is. For me, I'm always about empowerment, pushing people, motivating people. I don't believe that all dancers should just do choreography and just 5, 6, 7, 8. We also need to have an individualization within our work. And in that piece, you see that the core dancers are all showcasing their skills. And to me, it's important that they do that because it's growth. It grows them as a dancer. So that last section is about empowerment, which then creates the whole piece to have a journey from the beginning up until the point, the crescendo, that moment where you feel fully empowered. From a Boy Blue point of view, we have a vocab. So we have different types of movement, or we have different types of grooves. For me, as a dance company, specifically in hip-hop street dance, for me it's important to have some kind of legacy, which is our movement, our signature style of moving. So in the piece, I know I wanted to make sure there was signature movement, but I wanted to make sure I used it in a particular way and using it with the right intention. Also, listening to the music, I would listen to the track every single day, break down all the tracks to the nth degree, and then I would notate it and write down the counts, write down even if it's a symbol or something of what kind of sound it was. So if it was a bass, I would write the counts and I put a line underneath the count. Or if it was a much more of a higher sound, I put maybe a triangle, so I know what kind of sound I'm hitting, in order to make sure that choreographically I create a movement that complements that sound. Also, in my way of thinking, especially when I'm thinking about conceptual movement, theatrical movement, I tend to use, the mindset of maybe a contemporary choreographer or a physical theatre choreographer, and think about repetition, think about motifs, think about signature things that's going to take the audience on a journey through movement. It's like a song. You have a structure of a song. You may have your introduction, and you have your verse, and you have your chorus, and usually what happens, or your hook. So everyone, if you remember the song, you know the song because of the chorus, or because of the hook, or because of the melody. So with the piece, there is definitely that chorus or that melody, and you see that through the piece. There are signature parts where you actually see that movement at the beginning, but then it happens at the end, but then it happens in the middle here as well. When making choreography, I like to explore how I can manipulate and play with hip-hop street dance styles. In this piece, there is crump, there's hip-hop, there's popping, there is breaking, there is whacking, there is animation, there is aspects of locking as well. So it's not just taking it as just straight orthodox tradition. It's also playing with the form, and it's also taking attributes of the form. So even with the choreography, or especially from a Boy Blue point of view, you will see attributes of different styles within the choreographic structure. With the theme of order and chaos in this piece, in every style, you tend to be boxed in a particular way. In hip-hop, if you're a b-boy, you're a b-boy. If you're a hip-hop freestyle, you're a hip-hop freestyle. If you're a popper, you're a popper. And for me, I believe that within those boxes, that's where you create the chaos. Where those boxes of order is there, you create chaos within it. So you play within your parameters. And that also goes with regards to my choreography as well, and the choreography that was put into the piece. As much as there is a limitation in some of the choreographic devices or the structure or the movement, within that realm or that parameter, I'm going to then create as many variations within that. And that's where the chaos comes in. So I've got an order. I have to only use this particular part of my body. But within that part, I'm going to then create tens, hundreds, if possible, different variations within that area. Also, where in the piece you see the ensemble doing this movement, that to me is the order. And when the individual is doing their stuff, that's the chaos. We have to have, for me, it's important to have them anomalies within a piece, so that as you see this thing flowing as a strong ensemble, there has to be this individual that is moving. And with this piece, it's important for me to show both sides, order and chaos. In the first section, the dancers are in kind of a cube formation. The inspiration of that was a Rubik's Cube, and how a dancer, how the thing can move in a way where as it moves, a dancer reveals himself. So everyone is running. They're all running, and that is one of our, we call it the ninja walk. It's one of our movement that we have. So within that someone comes out and they're showing what they're showing themselves, then it moves again. Then the next person comes and it moves again. So that's a moment of where you've got this chaos coming up from order. Then you've got another one where order is made from chaos. In the second section, one of the dancers is crumping, and he's going, and before he goes off, there's this link and this connection that we use, which was inspired from a rugby scrum. So everyone comes in and they flow in, so it feels like this wave of people coming in and holding him. So that as much as they're allowing him to have the chaos, there's an order in which the chaos can happen. So it starts off facing stage right, and then it moves and faces the front, but there is still this order happening. In the last section, just the way the ensemble moves, and the individual comes out of the piece, again, is this chaos coming up from order. So there's always going to be moments. I think, to be honest, in a lot of our work, we have order and chaos, and we like to show the two worlds, because I think it's important for people to see that not everything is just straight this. For me, I chose the dancers who were able to deliver the vision, those who were able to, who were assets towards the piece, with regards to their strength, with regards to their professionalism, with regards to their talent and their technique. There were 17 dancers in the piece. Originally, the original piece was made with 9. It then grew to become 11. And for this piece, I made it 17 just to have a bigger ensemble. But with this piece, we did it again afterwards, and we was able to shrink it down to 11/9 people. So, most of the time when I'm creating work, I'm thinking about the people who are able to deliver the vision. With regards to staging, with this piece, there's no staging, there's no props or anything, it's just the dancers. What I wanted, or what some of the stuff I was investigating, was the formations and exactly where on stage stuff was happening. I tend to use the center point of the stage quite a lot, but with this piece, there is a feel that it moves in a particular way. I like to go from center and then move it out and work within that, and especially with Talenda, you will see in that piece how it starts off with a center shape and then it moves in a particular way. What I have at home is a notebook filled with formations. Sometimes if I'm on the bus or the train or I have some extra time, I literally just fill it up with formations. I go from like a duet to a trio to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I write a lot of formations, and then what I do is I also look at how I can then do the transitions for the different pieces. That kind of way of working, I was inspired by watching a lot of basketball and American football, where you see the coaches going, I want you to go here and you're going to go here. And I'm like, you've got all them different set pieces. Even with football, if they're doing a free kick, there are particular set pieces that the team have. So I said, you know what, let me think in advance and have a book. So every now and again, I might be stuck. I thought, you know what, let me look in this book of formations, and then I could just pick and go, I'll take this and this. Plus, at the same time, looking at our big Sad as Well stage at the time when we did that piece, I was like, we need to be able to take it and move it somewhere. And not the audience just sitting there just watching one particular space, but let's create this world and these moments. I knew at the beginning I wanted spotlights. I knew I wanted the dancers in the spotlights. I had a vision of a dancer coming in and putting someone within that light. Funny enough, that beginning is quite symbolic, and it has certain inspirations from, say, The Matrix, where you're in your when Neo is plugged in and then they pull him out. It's like basically you break out that matrix. With regards to particular types of lighting, it was to try and create moments and moods. It's a big stage, and you don't want to light the whole stage, because then it's just an open space. So the first 3 sections had their moments. The first one was about the spotlights and about just how we can play with spotlights. The second one was more moods. and there's a moment where the guys are in complete blackout, then they're in blue, then they just disappear again. It's a moment. I'm trying to create moments with the lighting. The bit with the third section with the November track, that one was to try and create this world of blue and this tranquility moment because of the beauty of the music and with regards to the movement that we was doing. I wanted it to just be completely blue, and with what the guys were wearing, that also helped to create that as well. With this, it was literally like a pastel blue top and similar kind of stonewash kind of jeans, which is very casual if you think about it. But with the way that it was lit, it helped it, and it was quite fitted as well. All the clothes were quite fitted. I wanted to show shape, and I wanted the arms to have freedom, so I didn't want to have long sleeves. The bottoms were like stretch jeans kind of feel, because I didn't want to be tracksuit bottoms, because I didn't want to be over urban, you know what I mean? Because when you think of hip hop, you think of baggy bottoms. I wanted to be quite clean. Even with regards to the girl's hair out of the face, I didn't want it to be all big and curly. It wasn't about the hair. It's about just being very, very clean and very clinical, but still have a casual feel. And plus, when you're working with particular types of material, that kind of pastel blue and stonewash jeans it stayed how it was underneath the lighting, if you get what I mean. I want people to be inspired by our work. I want young dancers to aspire to create work like that or better. You know what I mean? It's important for me that the audience enter our world. They get I don't know, spiritually or subconsciously pulled into the world and made to feel that when they're then thrown out of this world, what just happened? And I've always been a choreographer that really wants to try and push the art form to a level where the audience really appreciate what it is that we do and what work is done under the banner of Hip Hop Street Dance Urban Dance. Really look at those moments where I've placed them punches, like a punchline. There are certain moments where you have a physical punchline in the work. So it's about really marinating and observing how it flows as well. Think how it flows from one to another. And also the naturalistic movement that we use in it, like the scrum. It's from rugby. I mean, it's a sport. What natural things did we do and how did it move in order to make the piece feel like it just goes, like it just moves, it just flows, it does that stuff. There's about 4 signature moves that I would say is a boy blue movement. One of them is called the Ninja Walk, one's the Ninja Glide, and then there's the Ninja Static, and then there's also one of them called Chariots of Fire, right? So in the piece, the Ninja Walk is the one where you see them doing like this. If they're on the spot and their feet are moving really quick, that's the Ninja Walk. The Ninja Glide is if we're sliding from side to side and we go like that, that's the Ninja Glide. The Ninja Static is the arms are moving, but there's nothing happening with the legs. So Ninja Walk is the feet going really, really quick. Ninja Glide is when it's sliding across. And then Ninja Static is when it's just on the spot. Chariots of Fire, I don't know why we call it Chariots of Fire. There's some really funky names. But Chariots of Fire is the one where the arms are crossing, open, up, cross, open, up. And it was just, I don't know, the motion of it just, I don't know why we call it Chariots of Fire. It doesn't really make any sense because it doesn't look like you're on a chariot and there's no fire. So it doesn't make any sense. But we wanted something that had that swagger kind of feel, that bounce, so that boom, that bounce here, but at the same time you've got the body, arms moving, tap, tap. So it's a bit like a celebration, and we use it to a certain extent as a groove or as a movement. So so the ninja walk, ninja glide, ninja salsa are movement because there's no bounce in it, there's no groove. Chariots of Fire, funny enough, we've been having arguments amongst ourselves of whether it's a groove or just a movement, because there is a bounce in it, but the arms are quite static. But those are signature moves that we have in it.